Hello guys, so I'll pick back up where I left off on explaining the redistribution of cardiac output, blood flow during exercise. So as I said before, 20% blood flow will go to the working muscles during exercise and the other 80% will go off around the vital organs. Now, when we start to exercise and you start, like if there's a graph and someone's running, you've got to avoid the graph a little bit and just concentrate on the kind of question, redistribution. So there's a redistribution, there's a switch in the flow of blood from the organs to the muscles during exercise because the muscles are what needs them. So this concept of redistribution, I want you to re-spell it. Okay, so redistribution equals re-vast-distribution. 3 V's, and you see a VAS in the middle, and that should tell you what that redistribution actually means. It's called revasdistribution. So vascular shunt is what redistribution should translate into ultimately. Now the revast is there so that you have a kind of a checkpoint for all the stages that this vascular shunt process requires. So the first R, as you see down here, is receptors. So you've got chemo, baro, proprio. You need to say what they detect, where they send the information. I've used E as an enter as a filler in the kind of to make the sentence. So enter to the information that's detected enters the vasomotor control center, located in medulla oblongata, and its key role is to kind of change the vessel width in order to allow blood to flow through them. So the vasomotor control center stimulates this concept of vascular shunt, the redistribution. In order to do this, an action, something has to happen to the width of the vessels, and this is called vasodilation. Vasodilation of two specific vessels, and you cannot put vessels, you will not get the mark for them. The two vessels are the arterioles and the precapillary sphincters, and they supply the working muscles or tissues. Okay, so that then allows us to oxygenate those muscles. So that's how it works. That's how it would look in an answer. I put some extra terms in there if you want to use them, that's up to you. So have a look through that, check you've got it right, and we'll take it on. Next one, describe the mechanisms used to maintain venous return. Now, as soon as you see this, okay, I just need you to focus on these key words. Mechanisms, instead of used, we're going to change it to given. 2 is silent, maintain venous return. MG, MVR. And basically from there, your job is to say, right, it's a good one to use because you've only got to change one word, which is used to given. And that then gives you the first letter of each of the mechanisms. So what we're saying then, it's just to give you a backdrop to all of this. Venous return is the blood returning to the heart after you've used it in the body. Now the problem when you've used it in the body is the blood becomes deoxygenated. So this blood returning in the veins, called venous return, is actually really under low pressure. So the low pressure means that if it's got everything within its right, the blood when it's going back is to fall back the way it came. Now in order to stop that, you've got mechanisms in the body which quite cleverly work to push that blood back up to the working muscles, to the heart, so we can start the cycle again. Now this is what they are. So see if you can work it out from there. So M goes into an MP. G, G. SM, see if you can work that out. PV, RP. First one is to do with the kind of muscle. So let's move on. Answer: muscle pump. Okay, so skeletal muscles squeeze together. Okay, so the outside muscles, muscles around our kind of body, squeeze together to pump the blood back to the heart. Gravity forces blood from above the heart to come back down. What goes up must come down. Blood that's up comes down. Smooth muscle is located in the vein walls. Okay, and this forces the blood back to the heart. Okay, and then from there you have these pocket valves. Okay, which prevent the black flow of blood. So that's the key role of any valve, and this is what allows. If you imagine now the blood's going up, as soon as it goes up through a valve, the valve snaps shut, stops the blood from coming back down. And then finally you've got the respiratory pump, which is when the thoracic cavity pressure rises, it pushes the blood towards the heart. Okay, so they're your key mechanisms used to maintain venous return. So that's the end of the cardio and vascular system. Okay, so that just gives you the kind of questions you could have for that. Hopefully you feel like you could have a good go at answering that. Make notes. You should have questions, memory method and answers, and that's what I'll expect you coming in with. That is your admission ticket. You must have these notes done. If you haven't done them, there's no point in coming to the revision session. Okay, thank you.